V, verbalize. So verbalize has two steps. Number one of verbalize is verbalizing to people that we've hurt. If you've hurt someone else, let's say you stole from them, so you need to verbalize, which means apologize for hurting them, for stealing from them. So step two of verbalizing is to say it to God, because the mitzvah of not stealing came from God. So if I steal from my friend over here, I still have a problem with God over here. There's sort of this like tripod of how this works. It's not between me and my friend. God is involved there. But if I were to go to God and apologize to him first, it's almost as if he's saying, you didn't steal from me. You stole from her. Go apologize to her. And then when she forgives you, then come back to me. But first her. So verbalizing means if you've hurt people, you have to go to the people first, number one. And then number two, we verbalize to God. So before I get to the verbalizing to God, let me talk about the verbalizing people for one more minute. So when we've done something that hurts someone and they know about it, so then there is a value in talking about what we did wrong. I'm so sorry that I stole from you. You trusted me and I betrayed that trust and I took something that I shouldn't have taken. And you have to talk about what you did wrong. That shows the person that you feel bad. And it helps them to forgive you because they see how bad you feel. That's very valuable in getting forgiveness. What is not helpful in getting forgiveness is if you did something that hurt somebody else and they don't know about it, telling them about it will just cause more pain. Do you see that? Like if I spoke lashon hara, I gossiped about somebody and they don't know I gossiped about them. Now for me to walk up to them and say, I have to apologize to you. And they'll be like, oh, for what? And he'd be like, remember that dress you wore? I told everybody how fat you looked in it. I'm really sorry. That's going to be very hard for them to forgive you for. They don't want to hear that. So it's not good to walk up to the person and say, I did this to you, if they don't know you did it. So how do you handle that moment? So Judaism says you handle it like this. You say to them, Yom Kippur is coming, and it's a time where we think about our relationships, and I just wanted to apologize if I've done anything that hurt you over the past year. I want you to know I'm so, so sorry. I really apologize. I hope you can forgive me if I did anything that hurt your feelings. I really apologize. And if they say, of course I forgive you, please, and I hope you forgive me too. They just signed a blank check. If they signed a blank check, you can cash it. Now, sometimes people feel like, oh, come on, that's tricky. It's not tricky. It's kind. And I can tell you it's kind from a personal experience. Before I got married, like 25 years ago, I was learning in Israel, and I had a friend, and I had done something wrong to her. I think I had gossiped about her, but I don't actually remember what I did wrong. I did something that hurt her, but she did not know about it. Maybe I lied. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I did something, and I wanted to get forgiveness. Yom Kippur was coming. I wanted to apologize to her and get her forgiveness. I really felt badly. But she didn't know I did anything wrong. So it's this time of year, it's around Yom Kippur, and I want to be authentic and upfront, none of this blank checks, shenanigans, a real apology. So I went up to her and, pulled her aside and said, I really want to apologize to you. I made a humongous mistake, and I did this and this to you, gossiped or whatever it was. I've obviously blocked it out. She was so upset with me. She said, you're not thinking about me. This isn't about me. You're thinking about you. You just want your forgiveness so that you can have a nice Yom Kippur and you can have a nice year. Because if you were thinking about me, you wouldn't come over and say, hey, I gossiped about you and caused me all this pain that 5 minutes ago I didn't have. This isn't about you wanting me to feel better. This is about you wanting you to feel better. And she was 100% right. And then I owed her, 10 times the apologies because I was wrong in how I apologized. It's not kind to go up to somebody and say, I did this and this and this to you and you don't know about it yet, but could you forgive me? That's not nice. What's nice is to say, if I've done anything that hurt you, I want you to know, I'm really sorry, please forgive me. Now, if they say, well, what'd you do? Now you're in trouble. I don't know. Call me if that happens. I don't know what to do about that. Skirt around it because you're just going to cause more pain. And that is not the name of the game. The name of the game is to cause less pain and to make people feel good and close and to smooth things over. You got to be careful. So keep it general. And usually people, even if they understand, like when somebody says to me, if I've done anything, I understand they may have done something. You know what? I'm not perfect. I may have done stuff also. Usually people are very happy to say, I totally forgive you. I hope you forgive me too. Usually people are very happy to do that because we all know. We've all made our mistakes and we want forgiveness. We're happy to give forgiveness. It says you're judged how you judge others. Be careful out there. Okay, so that's verbalize. First people. And then next is God. So in verbalizing to God, we want to enumerate what we've done wrong, say what we've done wrong, and say to God, like, I want to be better. I want to be different. And this is what the day of Yom Kippur is all about. All day Yom Kippur, over and over and over again, we say al chet shachatanu, and we bang our heart because we understand it's not so much that we thought this was a great idea. It's that we got carried away. I didn't mean to gossip. I just was upset and I was hurt and I lashed out and I made a mistake. And it was my heart that made the mistake. My feelings. It wasn't my mind. We say it in the plural. It's not al chet shachatati that I sinned. Al chet shachatanu that we sin. Because we say that the whole Jewish people is in this together. And even if I personally did not do this one chet, this one mistake, somebody else in the Jewish people did. We're all one organic whole, and we take responsibility collectively, the same way as parents. When we see our kids taking care of each other, that makes us feel closer to them, that we're all in it together, and it's not like, well, I didn't do what he did, and what he didn't do what I did. Like that, we don't like that. We like when they're all like, we're all in this together, I'm not ratting out my brother, we did this, we're sorry. That's nice, we like that. So as a Jewish people, we do that. On the mistake that we made. The word chet is very interesting. People translate it as sin. There's different words for sins in Judaism. Chet specifically means a mistake. So in basketball in Israel, when the player shoots and he misses the basket, they say hu chata, he missed. It doesn't mean he sinned, like he didn't make a basket, he sinned. He sinned against God. Like it's basketball. It means he was shooting for the basket. He wanted to make the basket. Something went wrong. The sun got in his eyes. His shoe wasn't tied. He got distracted. I don't know. His finger hurt. He was trying to make a basket. He missed. That's the Jewish understanding of mistake. And that's why we stay in regret and we don't go into guilt. Judaism says, I get it. God says, I get you. You're trying to be a good person. You're doing the best that you can out there. I get it. And sometimes you make mistakes. You didn't have your coffee. There was a lot of traffic this morning. You got in a fight with your husband or with your teenagers or the baby was up all night. Whatever. Stuff happens out there. And Judaism, God, Torah, ancient Jewish wisdom says, I get you. You're just trying to do the best that you can. And sometimes you blow it. Once a year, be accountable. Because even if it's somebody else's fault, somebody else is to blame, somebody else spilled coffee on my report or computer or whatever. So it's their fault that my computer's ruined, but how I react to that, that's me. I gotta own that. I have to make a separation between what other people do and what is mine to own? What are my mistakes? And the good news is that by owning your mistakes, now you have something to be forgiven for. If nothing's your fault, if everything is somebody else's fault, so what are you asking forgiveness for? Nothing's your fault. And if you don't need forgiveness for anything, then someone else is in the driver's seat of your life and you're just the victim. So now you have no power. What Yom Kippur is pointing us towards is by being accountable, now you have the possibility of forgiveness, and now you have the reality of power in your life that you can switch things, you can shift things, you can create something different next year. So that's the verbalizing to God. So step 1, stop doing the wrong thing. Step 2, feel regret for what you did. Step 3 is verbalize, which is 2-pronged. One is to people and the other is to God. So verbalize to people is 3, verbalize to God is 4, and now step 5, and I want to talk about this for a couple of minutes. Step 5P of the SRVP stands for plan, which means, and what are you going to do about it? Because until now we've had stopping, which is action, but it needs to be a continuous, not you stop once, but you continuously stop. So you need a plan to be able to really have a strategy to make that real in your life. Regret is something you feel, verbalizing is something you do in the moment, but how do you have a plan that you really shift? So now we have an interesting medrash, and this is what Rabbi Kelman talks about in his class. Rabbi Kelman talks about a medrash that says, God says, open for me the opening the size of the eye of a needle, like that big. You can't even see, right? The eye of a needle, teeny tiny. And I will open for you, God says, an opening that wagons can drive through. So imagine the difference between these two openings, the eye of a needle and an opening that wagons can drive through. There's like gazillions of times bigger. There's no comparison. So what God is saying is, do something. Ante up something. People think Yom Kippur is all about recreating myself and becoming somebody different, and I have to do all of this work. And the answer is, no, you don't. You have to dream big. You have to be accountable for your mistakes. You got to look back. But when it comes to who you're going to be in the new year, you just have to do this much work. And God says, I will do the rest. It's not up to you. You just have to do something. Show me you want it. Give me an action. And I will blow out what is possible for you in the new year. I'll do all the work. Just show me that you're in. So an analogy, a mashal, an analogy to show that what we're talking about. I heard this in a different class, but it works here. Imagine there's a king. It's fictional. Imagine there's a king, and he has one daughter, the princess. And he says, my daughter is of marriageable age, and I want her to marry somebody who's worthy of her. So I'm going to have a contest. I have a tower that's 1,000 steps. And whoever reaches the top of the tower, the 1,000 step first, will win my daughter's hand in marriage. Everyone's like, I could do that. That sounds, I get to marry a princess? Like, I'm in. So the day arrives where they all have to climb 1,000 steps to be able to win the hand of the princess. And hundreds of guys show up. Like, who doesn't want to marry the princess? Like, well, bright and early in the morning, they're ready to race. They're all buff and, ready and working out and ready. Go. They all start racing up the stairs. Gotta get there first. Well, after 100 steps, all the jokers are like, oh, I'm out, man. Forget it. It's not worth it. Right? They're like, I'm not. I got 100 steps. There's 900 more to go. I'm out of here. So all the jokers leave. Rest of the guys keep going. By the time you get to 200 steps, half the guys have dropped out because they were just in it because they were competitive or princess, man, that's so cool, whatever. Like by 200 steps, they're like, I'm not doing 800 more steps. Like, forget. 50% of the guys are gone. 300 steps, cut in half again. Anybody who's not serious is gone. 400 steps, they're sweating, they're dying. There's like a handful of guys left. by 450, there's one guy left.